ସମସ୍ତେ ଓଡ଼ିଆ ଜାଣିଛନ୍ତି ତାହେଲେ I'll use a mixture of both Odia and English. Odlis. Chief guest of today's national. So, na English कौन बोल रहा है? So you want me to speak in English? Okay. Chief guest of today's national seminar, Dr. Justice Panigrahi. Guest of honor, Sri Mahanti, Sri Misra, Srikant Babu, Sakti Babu, members of the media fraternity, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, namaskar samastanku. It's a great honor for me to be on the same dais, same panel with Dr. Panigrahi, Dr. Justice Panigrahi, because I truly believe that he is one of the finest judges that we have in the country today. And not only because of his competence and erudition, but also because he can be called a green judge. He pioneered the concept of paperless court in paperless court in the Odisha High Court, and also he was the champion of the public interest litigation, which I think Srikant Babu spoke about, or it was Mr. Misra who spoke of the elephant corridor case, which was filed in the apex court of the country. The deaths of unfortunate deaths of elephants in the railway tracks. He was championing that case. So it's truly an honor to be here today with you. And Sakti Babu filed the petition, of course. And at the very outset, I would like to apologize to the audience and of course to my fellow panelists that I'll be leaving immediately after my speech because of an unavoidable engagement. I really wanted here to hear the speeches of both of my esteemed panelists, but I'll have to contend with the recording, and I'll come back after completing my engagement at some other place. So I beg your forgiveness for that. It's indeed an appropriate venue for hosting this seminar, because Odisha, as you know, is a pioneer when it comes to climate action plan, and also because Odisha is receiving the highest investment amongst the major states of India today, and almost 60% of our economy is dependent on mining or allied activities. When you have such a large-scale mining activity in the state, of course, there is impact on the environment and ecology. So, how do we ensure that we have this kind of activities, we have economic growth, because mining brings in economic growth, it contributes significantly to our GDP. So how do you ensure that we don't compromise on our economic growth and GDP, yet at the same time, we are cognizant of the fact that it might cause harm to our environment, and we take every possible step to mitigate those harm. So it's an appropriate venue, Bhubaneswar, and also because our Chief Minister is a man of nature, he's a nature lover. I think the whole world knows that Honorable Sri Naveen Patnaik loves nature, so it's another reason why I think it's appropriate that we are hosting this seminar here. And Srikant Babu spoke of the other events hosted by Nature Care Initiative, and I take yet again I take pride in the fact that I've attended all the events, including at Paradip, Bhubaneswar, and the one in Delhi. I commend you for hosting this national seminar. Again, it's very appropriate, because without nature there is no life. And when we talk of nature and when we talk of the impact of climate change, you all would appreciate that Odisha is one of the worst victims of the effects of climate change. Not only do we have a 480 kilometer long coastline, but also because of our geographical positioning, we are prone to cyclones and super cyclones almost every other year. Just between 1999 and 2021, over a span of 22 years, we have had eight major cyclones and super cyclones within a span of 22 years, which is fairly frequent. And also in the western part of Odisha, heat waves and drought situations are becoming more rampant. Again, experts believe that, and I do believe that, it's the impact of climate change that we are facing today. Now, many states in India, and I don't want to single out, I don't want to sound political, many states in India have taken many steps, substantial steps to take climate action. In fact, States have been rather proactive in taking steps in climate mitigation and becoming resilient compared to Government of India. And even before the Paris Agreement of 2015, many state governments had their own climate action plan. Odisha had its first climate action plan in 2010, being the first state in the country to do so. Way back in 2010, we had the first climate action plan. And I'll just state some of the steps that we have taken. We, meaning Government of Odisha, State of Odisha, have taken to becoming climate resilient. We were the first state in the country to have a separate climate budget. We were the first state in the country to have our own green climate fund, what is called GCF. GCF is an institutional fund, partly supported by the World Bank and partly by the Union Ministry and partly by the state government. We were the first state in the country to have our own green climate fund, GCF. I spoke about being the first state in the country to have our state climate action plan, and a substantial amount, a significant amount of over 22,000 crore is spent in the state on afforestation. 22,000 crore is a lot of money when the state's GDP is close to 2.4 lakh crore. So that is almost 10% of the state's GDP is spent on afforestation to increase the forest coverage, increase the forest density. OREDA, which is the Odisha Renewable Energy Development Agency, has an ambitious program of installing biogas plants across the state. I could go on and on, but because of paucity of time, I limit myself to some of the key initiatives of the government. Today, you go to any coastal district of Odisha, Jagatsinghpur, Kendrapada, Jajpur, Puri, Ganjam, you will see the coastal geography of Odisha littered with cyclone shelters. There are close to 500 cyclone shelters. These are all structures which were built after the super cyclone of 1999 in the last 20 years to accommodate human beings, to accommodate livestock during super cyclone, and these cyclone shelters can withstand speed of 300 kilometers per hour. So this is the resilience that we are talking about. This is the resilience, the physical resilience that the government has built in coastal Odisha to tackle the effects of climate change through super cyclone. Now I'll come to the second phase of the climate action plan, which was rolled out in 2018, and it has a 5-year tenure, 2018 to 2023. 2.04 lakh crore, 2.04 lakh crore has been earmarked for the second phase of the climate action plan. I will repeat it, 2.04 lakh crores. That is the budget, that is the fund that the government of Odisha has earmarked to make ourselves climate resilient over a 10-year period, of course, from 2021 until 2030. And in the second phase, what are the significant steps that have been taken? There is a program of climate resilient natural farming, which involves the women self-help groups. You might know, some of you might know, maybe all of you know, that we have a very robust women self-help group initiative in the state through Mission Shakti. There are close to 70 lakh women of the state who are part of this self-help group, and they have been roped in the 5 districts of Odisha to undergo this program of natural farming, climate resilient natural farming. Odisha Millet Mission, I'm sure all of you have heard of. We are indeed proud of this Odisha Millet Mission, which today the United Nations is talking about, being the first state in the country to roll out a millet mission in 2017. So much so that Honorable Prime Minister appealed to the UN to make 2023 as the International Year of Millet, and the UN accepted, and today we are celebrating the International Year of Millet. And I think the inspiration came from the state of Odisha. Today, we have a community-led climate action model, empowering local community. I firmly believe that you cannot tackle climate change or its impact or disaster effects just by involving the government or the civil society. You have to have the community as a major stakeholder in any such plan. And today, the Odisha Climate Action Plan or the Odisha Disaster Management Plan has a huge involvement of the community as stakeholders. You have the cyclone management centers in pretty much every panchayat of the coastal districts. pretty much every panchayat of coastal Odisha has what we call the cyclone management centers, where everyone from youth till the PRI members, school teachers, students, everyone are trained as volunteers to deal with climate change, to deal with cyclone and its after effects. So this is the model of empowering the community in dealing with climate action. Again, building inherent resilience within the community itself. OSDMA, some of you might have heard of OSDMA, Odisha State Disaster Management Authority. Again, rolled out, it was started in 1999, following which the National Disaster Management Authority started in 2001. I will talk about the state renewable energy policy. If you want to mitigate climate change, if you want to tackle climate change, a big chunk of our energy needs has to come from green sources. Today, the state produces close to 800 megawatt of green energy. We have an ambitious plan of hitting 10,000 megawatt by 2030. From 800 megawatt today to 10,000 megawatt in the next 7 years, 6-7 years. That's a big ambitious target that we have, and I'm sure we'll achieve that. At the Delhi event, we spoke about water management, and without managing water resources, without having proper water management plans, we cannot tackle climate change, because we have close to 16% of the world's population, but only 4% of the world's clean water sources. So India is a water stressed country, and this is only going to become more and more acute as we go forward. So unless we manage our water, we are not going to be resilient in dealing with climate change. And again, I take pride in stating that Government of Odisha has many initiatives in managing its water resources. We have an initiative called Catch the Rain. Catch the Rain is the slogan which was launched by Honorable CM, wherein every urban local body in the state has a plan called Mukta. The name of the scheme is called Mukta, under which the citizens of the denizens of the city or the urban local body are encouraged to store the rainwater under the slogan Catch the Rain. Rainwater harvesting structures, we have 12,000 rainwater harvesting structures in 114 local bodies, and all of them, each of them is geotagged. So if someone has suspicion that 12,000 numbers are inflated, or we do not really have such numbers, every single water harvesting structure in the state of Odisha is geotagged. And the mandate is to have at least 5 RWH in NSC per ward in the NSCs, 10 per ward in the municipalities, and 50 per wards in the corporation, in the city corporations of Bhubaneswar, Cuttack, Raurkela, Berhampur, Sambalpur. So lot of work is going on. Close to 1 lakh crore has been earmarked to manage our water bodies, for flood management, for drainage system, and for similar activities in Odisha. These are all the reason I speak of. I'm sorry if I've given you a laundry list of activities that Government of Odisha has undertaken, but these are facts. And the reason I wanted to state these facts is because these are some of the concrete steps that the government has taken, and which could possibly be a model of best practices for other states when it comes to climate resilience. And I'll end my deliberation by stating that, and I'll indulge in a bit of self-flattery. Please allow me to indulge in a bit of self-flattery. I introduced a private member bill in the parliament last year in December during the winter session called Net Zero Bill 2022, being the first member of parliament in the country to do so. The Net Zero Bill, the Honorable Prime Minister of India has articulated his vision of reaching net zero by 2070, but it's a great goal to have, but there are no interim milestones. There is no blueprint as to how we are going to reach that 2070 goal. There is no accountability mechanism. So my bill laid out a framework as to how we are going to reach the net zero goal of 2070 by having accountability, by making NGT the nodal body to ensure that every nodal ministry, every state government, every district administration follows its accountability in reaching that net zero goal. So my compliments again to Nature Care Initiative and to all its members for hosting this national seminar, and I'm looking forward to learning always from NCI. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your time.